What if I told you that if you did this one thing, just this one thing, that you would have a successful business and even a successful motherhood? Yes, just one. All right, let's go. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the Multipassionate Mompreneur podcast, where we choose to focus our energy, embrace our strengths, and move toward the compelled businesswomen we were meant to be. It's time to free ourselves from the chaos and the constant stream of ideas and build a life of impact and joy that honors our hard stuff, that makes meaning of our losses, and that helps us to make an impact in the world. It's time to finally take our power back and gain the follow-through that we've been desperately needing, while also learning to leave the swirl behind. I'm Angel McElhaney, motherless daughter, self-discovery junkie, and not so master juggler of my crazy crew. And I believe you can have it all. So put down that to-do list, grab that coffee, and let's get to work. One day at a time, together. All right, so by now, it is no secret that we need connection. Yes, that is the one thing that I'm going to say that you need for a successful motherhood and a successful business. And yes, there will be people out there that are saying, well, no, you need God to be the center. And you know what? That is connection. It's connection to yourself, it's connection to others, and it's also connection to God. So what I want you guys to do is when you think about connection, I want to tell you a little bit, some science. Okay, so I actually have been really thinking about this whole psychology of thoughts and how we're wired and just all of that when it comes to even just your brain or your how you're made. And that does stem back to the Enneagram and learning how you're motivated with your tendency when it comes to the quiz that Gretchen Rubin has and the different things to just figure out how you are motivated and how you tend to react when different things happen. And I'm noticing that a lot of this has core psychological, physiological things that are happening with us, and many of them have to do with social. So there is this drive, this need, this core thing that we need, this sense of belonging that is critical for us in order to honestly thrive. And so you have actually probably seen on the news or on social media that a lot of people who are in assisted living or different things where they have been quarantined for longer because they're at-risk groups, they are actually not doing very well because they don't have this connection. I actually saw a really cute, it was so precious, of pen pals where they are sharing these assisted living communities and popping the address there for asking for pen pals because people are wanting this connection with others. I think it's a really beautiful thing because it's making us see that when it comes down to it, it's not money that's making our happiness. It's actually people. It's kindness. It's taking the time to say a nice word, to edify someone, or to give them a compliment. And so if it's something so simple, because we have this problem where we want to make it something deep and hard and we had to trudge through mud to get this epiphany. Maybe we need to do the opposite. Maybe we need to actually keep it simple and actually focus on 3 of the 5 things that we need that actually help us with our motivation at the core level. Okay, so 3 of these that we're going to talk about today is status, relatedness, and fairness. So these are going to actually be things that are social related that I want you to incorporate into your Facebook communities so that you can really build this thing that I'm saying of connection. And so with status, I want you to edify and empower the people in your group. I want them to feel like they are a valued member of this group. So yes, welcome them to the group, but also ask them questions. Send them a voice DM. Maybe even interact with their content. This all takes time, and this is stuff that I think a lot of people think oh, I don't have time to do this because I need to do this other stuff that I feel like is bigger. But if you go back to what we just talked about how this is what is people actually need on a physiological level, then how is it bigger? So then the second thing is relatedness. All right, and so what that means is people need to be seen. If you can show them that you are like them in some way, and you know what? Everyone is feeling they are running a loop of some sort of questions in their head to where they're not feeling worthy, or they are feeling like if people knew these things about me, they wouldn't think I was so awesome, or they wouldn't like me. Everyone is having these thoughts because negative thoughts are just natural. And so what if you can actually make them feel seen and loved, and that you can make them seem like you relate to them? And no, I'm not saying fake it. I'm saying like show your authentic self. And this might mean that you show up on stories not looking perfect. It might be that you show some vulnerability in something that hurt you or something that you messed up on. It might even be like how I just did today, where you send off an email that you for a monthly podcast roundup that's actually 2 months worth because you didn't do it. So it's basically showing that you are human and you are like them, and they don't have to be perfect. What that does is it provides a safe place for them to just be them. And that is where the magic happens. I know this is so simple, and this is an episode where like, well, really, Angel, you're going to tell me that we just need connection. Okay. But what I'm telling you is that the importance of it is how they can be healthy. They actually need this awareness of connection and to prioritize it, or they are not going to thrive. And you've probably seen that, to where you know people, or you have done this yourself, or you have dived so much into your work that not really went out to your relationships, and then they die off, and then you feel disconnected, or maybe even that rejection. And I actually recently just heard of a book. It was called Social: Why We Are Wired to Be Connected. It's by a neuroscientist named Dr. Lieberman, and he talked a lot about how you actually have physical pain when you are rejected, or when you don't have that social pleasure. So we naturally move towards pleasure. And so it's kind of like this pendulum where we are trying to, yes, sit in the discomfort sometimes so that we can learn from it. But also we are naturally going to move to the things that are more pleasurable and less painful. And so how can you make your group or your community a safe place where people feel that they are edified and empowered, and they are, there's people in here that can relate to me, that see me, that I know I'm not perfect, and it's okay. Because at the end of the day, none of us are perfect. And so how can you do that and still remain an authority or an expert in your field without having imposter syndrome, and while, not feeling like, oh, they figured me out because, I wore the same clothes that I slept in, and I was on that live yesterday in this shirt. Not that happened today. Anyway, so, and then the third thing is fairness. There needs to be a level of fairness, and it needs to be seen in the group. Like, it can't be high school where you have this hierarchy, It can't be that you let some people promote their businesses and then other people not. It needs to be fair. Okay, so since people are very much striving for status, we want to give them opportunities to give their advice. So in your stories, ask questions, give them opportunity to interact. In your podcast, like right now, guys, shoot me a DM. I want to hear your voice. I want you to tell me what it is that you like. Do you like having solo shows? Do you like interviews? Do you like having tactical tips? Or do you need some motivation and empowerment from time to time? This is actually going to add value to you because you're going to feel like you are part of this community, which I hope you do. But it's also going to, of course, inform what I do. And so offering feedback and giving them those opportunities is going to be huge. So make sure you're doing that in your group and, of course, in your business all across. And then making them have the opportunity to meet new people, to go into different groups and comment on people's content and let them see that you see them. And so this could be even offering up your services on a beta rate or something for someone that genuinely likes, really needs that. And then in return, who knows, that could really make you a super fan. It could also make you just feel good because that person is going to benefit so much, okay? And then with fairness, I want you to make sure that you are setting up some ground rules when it comes to your group. And a lot of people don't really, they don't really really make the rules very special, which is totally fine. You have that ability. Facebook will actually recommend some rules, and then you can add or subtract anything in there. But I think you can set the expectation. So are you going to show up to your group every day? Are you going to show up live every week? Are you going to log off social media on the weekends? These kinds of expectations are going to be really helping in having that transparency, but also in setting the boundaries. And yes, that's my Life 360 app telling me this teenager is home. If you don't have Life 360 and you have a new driver, yes, Ty just got his license, then you need to check out that app. Okay? Little bit of tidbit. There's also 2 other things that people really need, and that is certainty, not knowing or they need to know what is going to happen before they'll try a lot of times. And then autonomy. People don't like to be micromanaged. So with that regard, when it comes to your group, I think it is amazing if you really encourage people to go live. And it's scary. It is me trusting you so that you can go live. And you know what? I actually trust you guys. So yes, there is the chance that someone will go in your group and they will spam it all up. And there's also the chance that someone can go in there and share their story, and it could impact someone else, and it could make this really deep connection that actually makes it to where people show up and up engagement in your group, that they invite their friends to come into the group, that you have a lifelong listener to your group, and then probably a client. So these are things to think about for sure in building your group. If you want more information on this whole model, it's basically a model of motivation, and it was designed by David Rock, and it really was around these central ideas that the brain actually treats social threats and rewards with the same intensity as physical threats and rewards. And so if you can give people the capacity to make decisions, solve problems, and to really work with one another, then you can end up making it a good environment and foster connection. And so it's definitely moving away from that threat, pain response, and into more of that pleasure center, reward response that we're really searching for when it comes to connection. And then it's also around this idea that the more intense and more common a threat is, that people are going to minimize social interaction. So if you don't have people in your group that are interacting, chances are that you are missing one of these things. So just to recap, the 5 domains of the SCARF model, or SCARF, and the 5 domains for the human social expertise are status, which this one is going to be totally relative to how important they feel to others. And then C was certainty, and that is going to be how certain people are about how they can predict the future. This is why a lot of people aren't trying, because they've actually already counted themselves out, or they can't see the win. And then A is autonomy, and that is going to give them a sense of control over events and belief. So what if you can let someone borrow your belief in them until they have their own? Can you see how powerful that would be? And then relatedness is R, and that will give them a sense of safety, a friend, and give them that human connection that they really need, to where they know that you are like them. And then the last one is fairness, and that is the concept that obviously that things are fair, that there is a clear right or wrong, and that justice is all good in the world, right? And so these are definitely things that you want to have prevalent in your community on Facebook or otherwise. But those 3 that I mentioned are highlighted on even more: status, relatedness, and fairness. I think that especially you can really put some practices into your daily method of operations that can make these important. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know that this is keeping it super simple when it comes to connection. But remember, connection is what ties you to other people. It is what allows people to see who you are, like authentically, and also allows you to see them. And that transfer of energy and that transfer of belief in each other is going to be what makes people want to work with you. And so if in the end, or in the beginning rather, you think, oh, I don't have time to spend this 10 minutes on Facebook in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening and to make posts and to do all this on my Facebook group, it's too much work. But what if that little bit of, really doubling down on connection made it to where you had these deeper connections with people, that people saw you and you saw them. And then what happened is you actually developed this super fan, or you genuinely help someone, which that's going to help you too. And then you have the sales and things that come later. All right. I know that you guys are going to use this. You are going to totally implement all of these things, and maybe you're overwhelmed, but at least come over to the Facebook group, Multipassionate Mompreneur. And this is going to give you online marketing for work-at-home moms, and it's also going to help you with especially Facebook strategy, engagement, really getting down to the connection that is so important and vital in business, especially online business, when you are not right in front of someone and they can't see your smile. So come on over to the group. Let us know exactly what you do, and let's hear a couple things that you are doing in your group to foster connection. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for you today, but I just want to tell you that you are strong, you are capable, and you can do the hard stuff. Wishing you joy and abundance, Angel. Hey, Mama, I am so excited. We have actually reached a huge milestone, and I want to celebrate. So our podcast has actually made it to 2,500 downloads. That is all thanks to you. And so I want to pay it forward by offering you guys a chance to win 1 hour of free Voxer coaching with me, and all you have to do is share the podcast. Yes, so if you haven't already, go ahead and hop over to Apple Podcasts. Yes, if you don't have an iPhone, you can borrow your mom's, your grandma's, your husband's, somebody's, then the iPad or something. Make an Apple ID, pop the review in there, and then screenshot it, share it over on IG or on Facebook, and tag me at angel.mclhaney, and I'll share it on my stories. And it's all about sharing this platform. It's helping so that this can help other people and so that you can also win. I'm so excited, and I really, really, really appreciate all of you that have taken the time to share the podcast, to invest in me and in our group and our community. And I am so, so excited to see who wins. All right. Hey Mama, I have something so important that I have been working on just for you. Are you spending way too much time figuring out what to post on Facebook? Maybe you have this dream of this engaged, close community where you can share your gifts. Maybe you've even went as far as to create the podcast, blog, or YouTube channel that you know in your heart that you can use to help solve her problems, but you just can't get her to respond. Tired of the crickets? I totally get it. And it's not your fault. In a world full of hey girl messages, scripts, and lists, it's just so hard to get people to trust you. So now I've actually created the Facebook Engagement Accelerator course. And it is the course that you're going to be able to use to learn all the tools that you need in order to create and optimize a group where you can learn how to connect authentically so that you can then nurture those relationships to edify and empower your audience. You are actually going to be able to let them borrow the belief that you have in them for that moment so that they can be able to then do the work for themselves. They're going to get the wins, and you are going to actually be able to generate the leads from an authentic place where you are serving and helping. I want you to picture more time with your kids, a more engaged audience, and then ultimately it's going to actually be able to get you those responses that you're so longing for. She's going to be getting into your inbox and into those solutions. Instead of the other way around, you are actually going to be able to have so much engagement that you're going to end up being able to generate the leads that help sustain your business, but also sustain your heart. I can't wait to see what you do with this, and I can't wait to see you in there. If you are interested in the Facebook Engagement Accelerator, you need to come on over to our Facebook group, Multipassionate Mompreneur, or shoot me a voice DM over on Instagram or Facebook. I can't wait to talk with you because this is your time. All right, let's go.